Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to Huddle Report. Today we're going to talk about the Lions. Woo-hoo, go Lions. So if you missed episode 1, we talked about the Eagles, repeat contenders. But if you haven't watched that or listened to it, go back and listen to episode 1 about the Eagles. Tonight is all about the Lions. Go Lions. I'm a huge Lions fan. Carson, Brian, who's your team? Okay, Carson?
Fly Eagles fly all the way. I don't even own blue.
Well, that's going to be one of our questions. If you lose to the Lions, are you going to wear Lions? Okay, not really. I would love that. Okay, so episode 3 is going to be all about college football. Super excited for that, so stay tuned for that. But today, let's talk about the Lions. So, unfortunately, we had a really disappointing season, and we had the bye going into the playoffs. Then we got destroyed by the Commanders. We ended the season in 15-2. But let me hear from the Eagles fan, aka our co-hosts, Brian and Carson, about the Lions 2024 season, what they think went right last year.
I mean, I'll start off with the offensive side of the ball. I mean, you have David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, hands down the best running back duo in the league. They're both dogs back there. Both can run the ball. Both can, juke somebody out, run somebody over. They're rolling there. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown, absolute route. He's nasty. I'll give him that. He's nice. And then you got Sam Laporta, big old tight end, great guy. Go ahead, Dad. What you thinking?
They also had the advantage of Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, and those are really great coaches. So they had a good year last year. They really did. I think that they themselves were very disappointed. Of course, the fans in Detroit, very disappointed with the outcome. But I think there's a lot to like about this team. I don't know if they're going to have quite the year that they had last year this year, but I'm sure we'll get into that conversation.
Yeah, so Detroit Lions had Aaron Glenn as the defensive coordinator. He was amazing, especially with all the injuries that we experienced. We were basically pulling guys off the street and saying, hey, could you play football? Somehow we ended up getting into a 15-2 record with that decimated defense. Ben Johnson was our offensive coordinator. He did some really creative things when it came to the offensive line. If this is my theory, if we wouldn't have had that bye, I think we would have went all the way and beat the Eagles and won the Super Bowl. But again, that's here nor there.
Second guess that because they fought so hard and tried to get the bye so they would have home field advantage.
Yeah.
So you can't second guess that. They just ran out of gas, and really the injuries really put a hurt on them, and they ran into a very, very good team in the Commanders.
Yeah. So I watched a YouTube video today, and it said statistically, I think there were 5 teams who had the bye in the first round of the playoffs that went and lost the second game, and they all had a losing season after that. So obviously the big question mark will be the Lions in the 2025 season coming up. Really hope we don't have that, but statistically it doesn't look like it's in our favor, but who knows? But yeah, so we lost 2 of our head coaches with our offense and defense, so I think that's going to hurt us. But we'll get more into the 2025 season. Okay, so if you guys haven't kept up with the news, training camp dynamics that have happened, we did lose a defensive lineman, Levi, already. I mean, if we're going to talk about last season and everything that happened with injuries, we're starting training camp off with another injury, which is not very good. Alex Anzalone is in that contract mess that's going on. The critics are saying what will make or break the Lions this year will be the offensive line, specifically covering Jared Goff. What are your guys' thoughts on how that will play out through the season? If the offensive line can't protect Jared Goff, do you think he'll be able to make plays? What are your thoughts on that?
I think Jared Goff is definitely getting up in his years, so he's not, the type of quarterback that's going to tuck it and run the ball anymore. He's going to look for the pass. I mean, he's going to look like, Tom Brady at his end of his years, just sit back and wait. But Yeah, line's huge in football. If you don't have any time to throw the ball, you're not gonna make plays. And
Right.
you can't rely on Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery to score 7 touchdowns each a game.
Right. Right.
I think the line's a huge deal for every team, but especially in this case for the Lions and Jared Goff back there.
Mm-hmm.
So success in the NFL on the field has proven that you have to be very strong in the trenches. On the offensive line, protecting your quarterback and opening up holes for the run game, which opens up for the pass game. And then on the defensive side, your defensive line has to pressure the quarterback and has to fill in those gaps to prevent the offense from running. So we've seen last year evidenced by the Philadelphia Eagles and their historic run and amazing crushing defeat of the Chiefs is that the offensive line and defensive line were absolutely elite and dominant. And so the Lions have been for a good while now a team that has a very solid offensive line and defensive line. But there's been some losses here. Frank Ragnow was a huge component and a piece to that offensive line, and he's retired. And then there's been some offseason moves to where I don't know if the offensive line is what it used to be, and nor do I know, even though Aidan Hutchinson will be coming back off injury and he is an elite player in this league, if their defensive line is going to measure up as well to when it was prior to Aidan Hutchinson's injury. So those are some major concerns for this Lions team.
There is a rookie, Tate, who's going to be trying out for the center. Now, statistically, I saw today that the Eagles had, I believe it was 8 players on their roster under age 24. So that was a lot of younger players. So I really can't count out the Lions having younger players. Obviously, each team's going to bring up those younger players. So the Eagles did it with a huge, I don't want to say rookie, but a younger playing roster. I really think that with Dan Campbell, these new coordinators that are coming up to the plate, I think they have some good tools that they can form with these players to really make a difference. So I saw Jared Goff last year, and I know I'm biased, do some crazy things with the whole faking that he fell. We did some really cool things, and you have to have a skilled quarterback to do that. Jared Goff, the offensive line is definitely going to help, but I think he's going to be a game changer regardless of the offensive line. He has a lot to prove, and he's done that for the past 2 years. So
yeah, the Lions had a very creative offensive game plan in many of their games, but you can attribute a lot of that to the boldness of Dan Campbell for going for it on many situations as fourth down. You can also attribute a lot of that creativity in the offensive game planning to Ben Johnson, who unfortunately is now head coach in the NFL. Jared Goff, let's make something clear, is that Jared Goff is one of 32. There's only 32 humans on this planet that are talented enough, equipped enough, elite enough, athletically to be placed in the quarterback spot in the NFL. I mean, so the man is gifted, the man is skilled, of course, but I think Carson does bring up a point is that he's not the most mobile of quarterbacks. And if you place in front of him an offensive line that maybe not at the caliber as it was, now we've got some issues. Now we've got dominant defensive lines that's just going to run over that offensive line and get to Goff.
I agree 100%.
okay, so we're going to flip a little forward because this, Brian, you went into one of my questions I was going to ask later in the episode, but will Jared Goff be top 5 QB this season? Yes or no?
He definitely has the supporting a cast around him that's going to elevate him. But if you look throughout the league, you have so many options in terms of top 5 talent, whether it's Lamar Jackson, whether it's Joe Burrow, of course, Jalen Hurts, just so many good quarterbacks. And I don't know if I put Jared Goff in the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Carson?
I think I'd have to agree with that. I mean, don't get me wrong, great quarterback, outstanding, throw dots all over the field. When it comes to the top 5 category, there's I can name 5 quarterbacks that are better than Jared Goff, in my personal opinion. But still, great quarterback. Carried the Lions onto a good little run last year. I think he's doing a great job.
Last year, the top 5 quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts. So unfortunately, Jared Goff didn't make that last year. I think he's proven himself to have almost nearly perfect games. They're working with the defensive line. That's just going to come in time. The major focus right now is that offensive line outside of the wide receivers and running back. But let's shift gears and go to the defensive line. Aidan Hutchinson had a huge injury last year, came back in record time. He's going to be a huge impact to the defensive line. Levi, unfortunately, is gone. So we have a lot of new people, a lot of things that are going on. Marcus Davenport is an edge rusher. It's just going to have to play out. If you look at statistics, let's talk about the Ravens and the Buffalo Bills for a second. Okay, they're on the other side. But it's been, 4 or 5 years that they've either made it to the playoffs or almost made it to the playoffs, and they never went. So the Lions having a awful decades, basically, of never making it far, and then 2 years. I don't think we count us out just yet. When you have these elite quarterbacks who have never went past certain spots in the playoffs, I don't count the Lions out at all.
Yeah, I'm not going to count them out, but the problem is they're in the same conference as the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's a major issue. They're I think, honestly, I think this coming season they're going to take a step back. One, their division is very good. You've got the Packers, you've got the Vikings, and you've got the Bears in there. And while I don't think the Bears are at an elite status yet, the Packers and the Vikings are good teams. And the Lions are going to have their hands full just coming out of their division this year, let alone trying to take the entire conference. When you've got great teams like the Eagles, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, San Francisco 49ers are going to have a bounce back year. So the Lions they've got their hands full this year.
Agree 100%. Saying that about the defensive line again, Aiden Hutchinson, he's a madman. He's a problem. Not everybody wants to block Aiden Hutchinson every Sunday. Nobody wants to do that. But if he's back 100%, I feel like he's gonna make a huge difference on the defensive side of the ball. Stop those big plays from happening. Get there before it happens. As Dad was saying, the division wise, yep, the Packers and the Vikings are solid teams, really solid. So
I wish we could input a little clip that you guys said that the Packers weren't that big of a deal when it came to the Eagles. So I wish I could put a little clip here of those words that you said.
They're not a big deal when it comes to the Eagles.
When
it comes to the Lions and their division.
Yeah,
we're not worried about
apples to apples here.
Okay, right. Okay, tell our listeners, last year we did not compete against the Eagles. The year before that, we did. So it's like every other year, I'm assuming that's how they do it. So this year we will be facing off with the Eagles. So can't wait for that podcast.
Okay. In Philadelphia, Sunday night, prime time.
Lions, it's going to be a beat down. We're going to talk about the draft. Last year, the Detroit Lions hosted record-breaking attendance. I said that from start to finish, it was going to be our year. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But this year, let's talk about round one. Obviously, we went with a defensive tackle from Ohio State. That was that Kyleik Williams. Obviously, we need that defense gun. Then we went with another big boy from Georgia, the Tate guy, who's going to be contending for the center. Again, those are two people that they already feel like are going to be, hey, game one, you're in. So those are two rookies. But then let's talk. Go ahead.
Like we said in the last episode, I mean, if you want to win, you recruit winners. You draft winners. In Ohio State, Georgia. Ohio State won the national championship last year. Georgia, right there.
Yeah, you're totally right. Those big dogs. And
let's think about it like this, though. I don't think that the Lions drafted from a place of luxury. They drafted from a place of necessity. And so you're going to hand one of the most pivotal, critical positions on the field, the center, snapping to the quarterback, directing and being the brains and the eyes of the offensive line. You're going to hand that over to a rookie. And he might be amazing. He might be incredible and he might make all pro this year. But on the other hand, it's been proven time and time again that a lot of times rookies, when stepping into a position such as center, do struggle for a year or two before they fully grasp the entire concepts and the complexity of the game, learning the playbook, learning to spot how defenses scheme and how defenses decoy themselves out. So it's going to be an adjustment. It's going to be a transition for sure, losing Ragnow.
I agree.
With the center position, even before you start to talk about reading the defense, it's snapping the ball. I mean, 101. Jared Goff and this Tate guy have to be in alignment with one another, because if a bad snap happens, Jared doesn't get on it, turnover. Let's not even talk about that. Moving on. Let's talk about
Jalen
Tesla.
Carter comes busting through the line.
Oh yeah,
He's
absolutely.
just wrecking people.
No,
Monster.
we're not. Definitely not. Wide receiver Isaiah Tesla. I mean, that's an awesome name. Arkansas. Then another offensive guard from LSU, an edge rusher from Boise State, a safety from Georgia, and a wide receiver from Georgia. So again, just like how Carson said, Eagles are drafting Alabama, Texas, we're drafting Ohio State, Georgia. It's like we're competing with the highest of the high. So I definitely see some good picks in our draft, but I think it's really going to take, like Brian said, a year or two before we can really see them shine.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. All right. So we all know that Ben Johnson went to the Bears, unfortunately, and Aaron Glenn went with the Jets. So Bears are in our division. What do you guys think will be the major impact when it comes to those two new coordinators working with the offensive and defensive line?
They're just going to have to keep building on what they've already established. You can't come in there and change everything out if you got some old guys in there and playing for a while. They're not going to want anything really new, but the new guys, you can start teaching them new things. So when the old heads start going out, you got new guys that, have new skill, different things they're good at that the other guys weren't good at. So it's all about putting it in there. See what the young guys and old guys can do.
I think it's wise when an NFL team promotes from within because they're familiar with the system, they're familiar with the personnel, they've built rapport and relationships with the players. So the Lions did that. They promoted from within. It's just a matter of how cohesive are these new coaches with their players, implementing slight variations to the schemes that the players are familiar with, and then how do the players respond to those schemes? And is it just a matter of trial and error? These new coordinators are attempting to establish their coaching prowess, but also realizing that too many changes will not bode well with the players and with the head coach. And so I think it's another one of those learning curves. It's true. Like when you are when you're a good team, then a lot of times other teams want to pull from your resources. That includes coaches, that includes your top tier players. So that's what happened with the Lions. They were 15-2, number one seed in the NFC, and their coaches were pulled for other teams so that other teams could enjoy the success.
Agree.
Yeah. So fun fact, our new offensive coordinator was born and raised and went to college in Michigan. So diehard Lions fan. He went to Western Michigan. He was with the Jets, and the Jets weren't that good. So, but I think having those roots to Michigan is going to be huge. So let's talk about the big boys in the Detroit Lions roster. Ross St. Brown last year signed a massive contract. I feel like he earned every dollar. Him and Jared Goff had that chemistry. So Detroit is funneling out the money for these key players. When it comes to Gibbs and Montgomery with the running game, do you think they're going to be as explosive as last year?
I do, honestly. Those guys are monsters back there. I get them on my fantasy every year for a reason. They do their job. They score touchdowns. They get yards. They hurdle people, run them over. They do what they do. But two great guys. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's going to be dependent upon them staying healthy, and I think that's going to be dependent upon how effective the offensive line is. If you have an effective, cohesive offensive line unit in front of those running backs, then they could have outstanding MVP caliber seasons. If the offensive line struggles, they're going to struggle.
Who do you think is our biggest threat in the NFC?
The Packers. The Packers in your division are your biggest threat.
I agree with that.
Jordan Love is a good quarterback. They
Well,
are
in the
well
whole
coached.
and
And the whole NFC? Well, the Lions need to try to win their division first. And so, to me, if their goal is to win their division, which every team, their goal should be to win their division, the Packers are their biggest threat. I mean, because right now, I don't see the Lions in the tier that the Eagles are in. I just don't. I think the Eagles are head and shoulders above the rest of the NFC teams, and then there is a secondary pool of teams, which would include the Packers, Niners, and the Lions.
And the Vikings.
Yeah.
I would include Vikings in there too.
okay, I think the Commanders are going to show us all up. Unfortunately, I don't want to say that. I think Jaden Daniels over
They're
there.
not showing the Eagles up.
It's really hard to be repeat contenders, but that's episode 1. We're done with that. I listened
We
to
already
that.
established they will
Commanders,
be winning.
great team. Commanders are a great team. I'll give them that. They are a great team.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to go over the schedule just like we did with the Eagles. Let's talk about what the game's going to be. Do we think it's going to be an intense game? Lions have an intense schedule. Intense. Okay, we're away for the Packers for our first game.
In Green Bay, first game of the year.
Lions are a good road team. We'll give them that. They are a very good road team.
We are the best road team, actually, as of last season, but go ahead.
Well,
I'm going with the Packers on that at home opening game.
I'm gonna go with the Lions because of if they can figure out their line first game of the year, they'll run them over.
Let's go. Okay.
Jahmyr and David will have their day with them.
I agree. Weather is going to be great up there, so we don't have to deal with snow or anything like that. Okay, home Bears. I think we're going to win. It's our first home game. The stadium is electric. You can't beat the Ford Field. But what's your guys' thought with Ben Johnson coming back home, but being the head coach for the Bears?
Yeah, I'll take the Lions on that.
I'll go Lions also. Caleb Williams, good quarterback. Just don't think he's gonna come into Ford Field and come out with a win.
Right. Okay, away at Baltimore.
So that's a tough game there. Jackson, Derrick Henry.
Ravens.
I'm gonna have to go Ravens.
Okay. I think that's going to be a hard game. I think Bears are going to be a great win, but I don't see us being 1-1 going into the Ravens game and then losing and being 1-2. I can't even fathom that. So
Distinct possibility.
okay, no, I don't know. No, I say we win. Okay, moving on. We got the Browns. We're winning that.
I'll give you all that.
Okay.
The Browns,
Lions.
they've gotten better, but I'm gonna give the Lions.
Field goal.
Wow.
Shedeur Sanders might show up now. He might.
Yeah.
Hey, perfect timing.
He might come in strong.
No,
Perfect timing.
gotcha. Okay, so you guys have us 2-2. I have us 4-0. Okay.
I got 3-1.
Bengals. Okay, so our next 2 games are huge. We got Bengals away and Chiefs away. Joe Burrow has something to prove. He's in that same boat as I feel like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Then we go to the Chiefs.
I'll say this about the Bengals. Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in the league. He's shown it year in, year out. He's like that. So if y'all can stop him, I'll give y'all that one. I got y'all 4-1.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the Lions can beat the Bengals.
Period. Okay, like it. Chiefs. We've beat them multiple times.
Yeah, the Lions.
Even when we weren't at our
Locally, they do play the Chiefs pretty well. Where's the game going to be? In Detroit or in Kansas City?
Arrowhead.
In Arrowhead.
You guys had the Eagles losing in Arrowhead, so you are contemplating the Lions coming in and winning. I mean, I'm all for that, but just reminded you of last episode.
Yeah, Arrowhead's not a great stadium to go in and come out with a win. I mean, it's definitely hard. I'm gonna go Lions. Lions lose there, 4-2.
Wow. Okay.
Lions
see
did
how
not
this
come out
goes.
victorious.
Chiefs either. Yeah. I've got the Lions 2-4 so far.
Okay. So Buccaneers at home. Then we have a bye week.
I think they can beat the Buccaneers. They usually handle the Bucs, particularly at home. So I think the Lions win that one.
I'll agree with that. 5-2 for me.
Yep. So then we have our bye week, and then we have home Minnesota, away Commanders, away Eagles.
Ooh.
Vikings, Commanders, Eagles. What are
Vikings
you taking us?
at home. I'll say y'all win Vikings at home.
Yeah, Lions win that game.
Commanders away. I'm gonna say y'all lose to the Commanders away.
I'll say the Lions win. There's a revenge factor there. Lions are a good road team, and they got embarrassed. So there'll be some revenge factor.
It's very true. And then Eagles away. Next question.
Domination. We are going to dominate. I cannot wait.
There is
Week
very
11.
little
Week
possibility the Lions are walking into Philadelphia and walking out with a victory. I don't think it's going to happen.
Slim.
A lot of teams said that last year. Just saying. Okay. Then we have Giants, Packers, Cowgirls. Giants win. Oh, did
Lions
you hear
win.
they got Russell Wilson starting quarterback for the Giants now?
Jackson Dart is in New York. Great quarterback from Ole Miss.
Okay.
So they're gonna have to. Russell Wilson is the veteran, but Jackson Dart, he's nice. He's nice back there.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'll give Lions win against Giants.
Yeah, definitely. Packers home. I think we're gonna win. Cowgirls, we're gonna win. Away the Rams. Go ahead.
I like those. Packers win. Cowboys win, of course. Rams.
I don't know if you guys heard too. Matthew Stafford hurt his back.
Well, either way, Matthew Stafford. If Matthew Stafford plays or not, Lions win.
Yeah,
Lions will win over the Rams. Kyron Williams, great running back. Aidan Hutchinson's going to eat him.
I don't know. The Rams are a tough team. I might take the Rams.
Puka Nacua.
The Rams are a good team.
Yeah.
Okay, Steelers, Vikings, Bears. Bears are the last game of the season. Steelers, we win. Vikings, we win. Bears, we win. Super Bowl champs. Here we go.
Yeah, I'll take a clean sweep for the Lions on that. The Steelers are going to be horrible.
I'll too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I like that. I think that the Lions are going to have a great season as always. I definitely think the Eagles are going to have a great season too. So that'll be a really cool Week 11 game matchup. So at the end of each episode, we ask a question that has really nothing to do with football. And this week, I created the question: if we turned our family into an NFL team, what position would each of us play?
Boy.
So we're all going to answer. First,
quarterback for sure. I'm quarterback for sure.
I got my own position. You're going to go all the family. I was talking about just us. Keep it short and
I got quarterback. I think Carson's middle linebacker.
I like that. Give me Zach Bond back there.
Yeah.
I'll be Zach Bond. I like linebacker.
Megan's coordinating the cheerleader outfit.
Hey, I'm fine with that. Okay, what about?
No.
Maybe you could be cornerback.
Yeah.
Lanky.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I mean, I played center in high school my whole life. Do like center.
That was mine for you, yeah.
I'm a roll with center on offensive side of the ball. If I had to play defense, I do like defensive end. Defensive end. Or nose. In the trench. He could probably be slot receiver. He'll just distract people, just do a little out route just to distract the DBs.
Do a little dance.
Yeah, that's it.
What quickness, boy. I'm lightning.
Alrighty. We'll keep that there. I'll give you wide receiver.
Yes, that's me.
I'll give you the wide receiver. I'll give you wide receiver 3 though. Give you wide receiver 3.
No.
Wide receiver 3.
No. Okay, Carson, I had you at center. Brian, Waterboy, me, wide receiver.
Waterboy.
Carson, center. Brian, I see you as maybe a safety, and wide receiver for me. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're going to be uploading episodes every Thursday morning, so stay tuned for those. Next week, we're going to talk all things college football. Super excited about that. We're going to talk about SEC, Big Ten, all of the major big boys in the college football team, so stay tuned for that. And thank you so much for joining us.
Norris for having us.